Cool. So thanks for joining, everyone. We really wanted to book some time with the community and the team to just give an overview of what's going to happen this week. Big updates are coming, and then open up the floor to give everyone chances to ask questions or give comments. Do you want to kick us off with an intro, Andrew?
Yeah, so let's start off with who we have here on the call. So far, we have myself, Coop, and I'm running our digital marketing. We have Ozga, who's in our business development and a huge influencer on our Turkish community. And we have Leo, who's our COO and advisor at Pangolin. And to kick off today, like Leo said, we really wanted to give you guys some space to ask us questions and give an overview of what's going to happen with tokenomics, what that process looks like, and how you all can participate. So, Leo, why don't you kick us off with the overview? I'm sure people have heard snippets here and there, but what's really happening with PangolinDEX this week?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to give an overview. So, as you know, Pangolin was created by Ava Labs, and the current team running Pangolin kind of inherited the tokenomics and all the processes going on. And recently we just, or for a while we've realized that the tokenomics, in terms of the emission schedule, in terms of how many max supply tokens there are, in terms of how the farms work, they're not as optimal and competitive as we want them to be. So after a lot of discussion internally, after getting feedback from the community, we have a new tokenomics design that has been proposed in our governance forums, that's been talked about in Twitter and on Telegram a lot, and it's finally going to a live vote this week. So we're very excited about that. And the big hitters that are coming with this upgrade are the burning of more than half of our max supply, so 57% of a max supply of 538 million, I believe, down to 230 million. So that's a big deal. Our are going to get changed up. We have a new farming contract from our engineers. That's just fantastic. APRs are going to be better. TVL is going to be better. Farming is going to be great on Pangolin. And then just the emission schedule. It used to be a halving schedule. It didn't really make sense for a DEX. It used to be 24 years. Now it's going to be a 4-year schedule with kind of like a sloped emissions. So that's going to really help a lot. And we're really excited about this.
Yeah, that's a great overview. And you mentioned that the initial tokenomics were not optimal. Can you speak to that a little bit more? I think you hit at how long the schedule is. Is there anything else you'd comment there? Is it mostly about the time of emissions?
Yeah, I think it's it's about inflation and deflationary measures, right? If you look at effective tokenomic schedules, they usually reduce their emissions like each month or each week or almost each day, so that less tokens over time are being distributed, and that makes each token theoretically more valuable. But when Pangolin launched, it kind of had this flat emission schedule where for 4 years, the same amount of tokens, 175,000, were emitted per day, kind of modeled after like Bitcoin almost. And for some tokens, that makes sense. Like for a network token like Bitcoin, that made a lot of sense for them. For a DEX token, where we use it to incentivize rewards, and our APRs are very dependent on the value of each PNG token, it didn't make as much sense, right? Like when a project launches, they want to distribute tokens to a lot of people. That's why emissions are high. They want to get a lot of hype around that. But eventually, you want to be less and less dependent on high emissions, and that's what we're trying to build into our system here.
That makes a lot of sense. What do you think about talking a little bit about what goes into a change like this? I mean, we've been kind of teasing it. You might have seen Justin's tweets over the last month or so, and I think people might wonder, what takes the time to really get something like this done? What goes into it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I see Justin on the call too, if he wants to hop on as a speaker and give his thoughts. But basically, there's the technical side, and then there's the process and governance side, right? So we can start with the process and governance of this is the biggest change in Pangolin history since this team joined in June. We're radically changing contracts and emissions and tokenomics. And since we are a decentralized project, we're a DAO, we need to get buy-in from a lot of people, from the community. And so it took weeks and months of internal discussion, getting feedback about whether this is right and optimizing it. So that's the process and governance side. And we have to vote too. We still have to do an on-chain vote on this. And then let's talk about the technical side. Pangolin inherited a set of contracts, like an emissions contract and a farming contract, that were a little bit rigid. And so our engineers kind of had to dig into these to see how flexible they are, what's possible to change. And we eventually realized, we kind of have to replace this whole thing. So Brandon, our lead engineer, very good design, had a very good engineering and testing process. Went back and forth with Halborn for audits, so it's very safe. And that's also like a multi-week, almost like a 2-month process to do that. So a lot of time, energy, and thought was put into this, and I hope that kind of explains this whole process here. Did you have any thoughts on that, Justin?
Yeah, I think you did a great job of explaining that. Yeah, it's about collating a lot of disparate stakeholders and aligning them on a common goal, and that can be a challenge. But I think Leo, you did a great job of explaining it. Yeah.
Awesome.
One more thing I want to comment on, Andrew, that hasn't been brought up yet is this Pangolin Foundation, right? We have some funds to work with, but we don't have this team foundation of tokens that is more flexible to use in terms of not only for spending but for incentivizing team members to attract talent. And so I think that's going to be a really big deal now that we do have this baked in foundation that's coming with a new tokenomics to just build a really strong team and project that can last for years.
A lot of sense. I mean, projects right now are all pretty young, I think we'd say, and the ones that can fund themselves and keep the progress going are going to be the ones that win long term. So I think that's a really healthy point. I think the whole process too, it just reminds me of how different Pangolin is as a true DAO compared to some other projects out there that kind of make their own decisions unilaterally. So we have the community that we really have to consider and get buy-in from before we can do anything. And it's a difficulty along the way, but it's also just the power of community being shown. We really can't do anything without you guys, and we want to make sure everyone's included in those decisions. So Leo, why don't you talk a little bit about the process for the vote? We've been talking about the burn. So what happens next? Where are we in that process? And eventually, how can people participate?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the beauties of Pangolin is we're one of the few projects with on-chain voting, meaning you vote with your token. Everything happens in the blockchain, and it directly impacts smart contracts and funds that get moved around. It's a very powerful system. And so how it's going to work is, we're going to make a proposal, an on-chain proposal, to make these changes. The changes being swapping out some emissions and farming contracts, allocating some funds to like a nice Pangolin Rush to be happening that we'll have more details on. That's going to boost our APRs, and then allocating funds to this foundation I was talking about. And so, how does that work for our users? So the voting is on our website, app.pangolin.exchange on the voting tab. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have PNG in your wallet, right? Because this voting contract reads delegated PNG tokens. So if you're staked, you're going to have to unstake temporarily. And you're going to have to delegate to yourself, meaning give your voting power to yourself. And delegation's powerful too, because you can delegate PNG voting power from your own wallet to other people if you want. But in this case, if you're voting, you unstake your PNG, delegate your PNG to yourself from the voting UI, and then when our proposal goes up, there's a 24-hour waiting window. So it's time to unstake and delegate. And then after that 24 hours is up, voting starts. You're going to vote on chain, pay a little bit of gas fee, and voting will last for 3 days. It's like a majority wins type of vote. There's no minimum to pass. It's just if there's more yeses than nos, vote will pass. And assuming it passes, which I hope it will, there's a 2-day execution delay to kind of gear everyone up for changes, and then everything happens on chain. Smart contracts get swapped out, funds get moved around, and then our new tokenomics is technically live. And the follow-up of that is that since it's a new farming contract, anyone farming is going to have to migrate their farms. We have a very cool farming tool. Our designers and our engineers did a great job making this as seamless as possible to migrate your farms. And I think if you're an auto compounders, like they'll even do that part for you potentially. So, stay tuned for instructions. But to recap, just you're going to have to vote on chain if you want to participate in that. And then if you're farming, you have to migrate your farms. Just super easy. Did I cover everything, Justin?
Again, you're doing such a great job. There's very little for me to say. The one thing I'd just like to comment is it's very much a bird catches the worm situation. So in line with that, we're going to open early deposits into the new farms. So if, for example, the new farms go live on Sunday, on the Friday, theoretically, you could then early deposit into the new farms. And then basically that means you're then eligible for the maximum rewards. So what happens is as people deposit into those new pools, the rewards will strewn. So if you get in early, you obviously have a great opportunity to get those rewards, a greater allocation percentage of those rewards.
Yeah, do you mind if I alpha leak this rush, this boost that we're doing, Andrew?
Oh yeah, I think
allowed?
so. I mean, we're probably minutes away from the proposal going on chain, and yes, go for it.
All right, so we really want to reward everyone who's been loyal and farming and providing liquidity. We want to generate some hype around this new farming, these new tokenomics. So we are going to allocate 2 million PNG, or like $4 million at today's PNG value, as like a rush program, like a Pangolin Rush program to our farms. So APRs are going to be pretty attractive for about a month.
And that's going to roll right into more changes at Pangolin, I'm sure. Don't want to leak too much there, but we have a lot coming. It's not just going to be the reward and business as usual. I think we've built a really strong team to keep this thing rolling. Well, and that's a good reason to join these AMAs. I mean, we haven't released that info yet, but will shortly, and you guys get a little taste early, so you're welcome. Okay, so I think we've covered, what are the key points of the tokenomics? What are we really excited about? What's the process look like? The on-chain voting is going to be kicked off shortly. We just got a Discord message from our CTO that said he's pretty much ready to go. So looking out for that and more updates soon. But I think unless one of you all sorry about that, I got a call. Unless one of you has another topic, we might be able to open it up for questions. What do you guys think? Okay.
I think questions is good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of why we're here, is to let you guys get your questions answered. So raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question to the team. Let's see. All right, we have Techie. Be on your phone in order to
Hello.
speak. Okay.
Hello,
Hi.
guys. How are you? So, my name is Taki. I am part of the team DeFi protocol, DIP. I have one question. Okay, first of all, congratulations about the huge progress. So, great news. But about, let's say, education mostly, or let's say some instruction of new farming will come to, which will be moved from one other to another. I missed something about here. How will it be?
Yeah, so I think your question is how exactly are you going to move farms, and will we provide some education on that
Yeah,
process?
yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
So,
Leo.
I'm talking about this because I saw in general this kind of issue will happen also to other decks. Let's say we are missing, let's say, tutorial or information when the user has have all time difficulty to understand everything in correct way, and all time they need to come to ask all time. So I'm just to understand if you are thinking to make something like tutorial or something instruction easily for all user investors in general.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great question. It's definitely something we anticipate. And we've built the great migration tool, which will make the process easy in general. But beyond that, we also plan a tutorial, like you said, of just walking through the process of migrating your farms so that, people can then watch and copy those same actions. And we also just shout out to our Telegram group. We have great admins there. We'll be providing support along the way for anyone who doesn't understand via the tutorial and the migration tools.
Okay, thanks, great.
Yeah. Leo or Justin, anything that you want to add on that one?
I just want to give a shout out to our great mods because now it's kind of the transition to when they take on a lot of the burden of this process, right? They're going to get so many questions and have to talk people through this, for the next couple of weeks. And you see some of them on the call, and they always do a great job. So just want to give a shout out to our mod team.
Yeah, I'd just like to. Yeah, the mods are an incredible part of our community. They really do an incredible job dealing with people, helping people, being patient. We're very lucky to have them. Also, I think, also just the designers. I think UX is a key part of this, and this is something that DeFi has struggled with historically. And I just love to say thank you to, Abdullah and Nirav, who are designers, for just doing an incredible job creating an easy to understand, beautiful interface. I think people are really going to love it when they see it.
And I think a lot of people don't know just how close and integral our mod team is to our to Pangolin. Like some mods, they just get paid to answer questions and that's it. They read from the script. But our mods are giving us advice every day and input and bringing us news, and some of them are specialized in different areas like art or PR or marketing. And mod's just a title, but really they're like Pangolin team members is how I see them, and they're very integral to us.
I'd agree. From the outside, before I was really digging into Pangolin and getting to know the team, didn't quite realize their impact. But now that I'm here, they're one-on-one with the community and listen to your feedback and pass it along. And so I just agree. They do a great job. Any other questions? I think we had somebody raising their hand, but I'm not seeing them now. So I'll give you guys another minute here to ask.
And maybe we can hear from from Oscar. Like Oscar, what are you hearing from the community? Like, what are they excited about? What are they confused about?
Hey, so from what I see, people are excited about new developments because we will be burning 57% of all PNGs, all the total supply. So people are really excited about this, and they think that the value of PNG will be rising as well because it will be a rare asset. So they are very excited about this. And yesterday we shared a video. There were some sneak peeks about the upcoming developments. So I see that they are really excited overall, and I'm receiving very positive feedbacks right now.
That's great. And I just have to say an insight from our marketing as well is that the Turkish community is just eating that video up in comparison to the rest of the world. So we love to see that. We think, you guys are a huge part of the community. So love it.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see the support from Turkish community because our Turkish Twitter account doesn't have as many people as in the global one, but from what I see from our impressions rate, it's really going great. So I really want to thank our Turkish community for supporting us, and you are doing great, guys. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, our Turkish community is huge and great, and I think some days like we get more traffic and usage from our Turkish community than like other countries, and that's awesome to see. That's why we kind of went after iCryptX as our like next sex partner. We just listed with them over the weekend. That was super exciting. And there's an Avalanche event coming up in December in Istanbul, I think, like a hackathon, and we're sending some Pangolin team members there to hopefully form a team and participate. And I'm pretty sure it's open to the public if you just want to like swing by and hang out and meet anyone on the Pangolin team. I'm sure they're going to let anyone go and hang out. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, definitely we will be there. Abdullah and I are going. Abdullah is also here. He's our lead designer. We will be going there together. So if you just want to come to that event and if you want to chat, we would be happy to meet you guys.
And I hear there might be t-shirts, maybe.
Yeah, that's one of the prizes, let's say.
Okay. Well, we didn't have anyone else raise their hand. So I think we'll end the spaces on this note. I hope everyone learned a little bit. And please keep your eyes on Twitter, LinkedIn, all of our socials, because as soon as that vote is proposed and on chain, we'll have more details released. And I just saw somebody raise their hand for a question, so we'll give them a chance to ask.
Do we have any plans to roll out to different exchanges so that we can expect a lot of adoption across the globe?
Justin, you want to take this one?
So when so you're talking about centralized exchanges. So we have and I try not to release this because what I've learned, obviously you release some information and then it can get dangerous because people constantly ask. But we have a list of about 10 sexes or centralized exchanges that we're currently engaging with. Now, what you've got to realize is it's not necessarily something that's in our control. So what happens is a lot of these centralized exchanges they're varying levels of maturity. So some of these centralized exchanges, they don't even have legal agreements. And then on the other spectrum, when you talk about some of these centralized exchanges, they have legal agreements that are incredibly detrimental in terms of indemnity, liability. So I'll give you an example. So if we go to a centralized exchange and they don't have a legal agreement, anything goes wrong, Pangolin is liable to pay. Then on the other spectrum, if they have too much legal terms within it, we could then be liable for an entire treasury to pay if anything happens. There's a token delisting. So what happens is the legal agreements take a lot of time, and we have to be incredibly careful with those legal agreements, because what that does is it puts a burden on us that if anything happens, we have to pay the liability. So we are talking to a lot of centralized exchanges, but the thing is, we want to do it correctly. We want to make sure that when we go with these exchanges, that they're trusted exchanges, that they adhere to a certain level of quality and professionalism. But like I said, to a lot of them, we're progressing with a lot of them, and I think you're going to see now quite a lot roll out. I don't want to give dates because also we're not allowed this voicing this information to the community. So agreements, the centralized exchanges, there's a clause that actually says if you release this to the community, you're liable. So they don't allow us to, and that's for a variety of reasons. Insider trading, it obviously dampens the marketing impact of when we release on those. But trust me, we have a lot of centralized exchange discussions ongoing, and daily we're talking to centralized exchanges, quite a few every single day.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to like Justin and Farhat and our lawyer, our legal team for being in the trenches on the back end of things, just doing negotiations, business development with the centralized exchanges, because there's a ton of back and forth and it does not seem like fun work. I mean, me and Andrew just get to post fun tweets on Twitter all day while Justin's dealing with lawyers and legal issues, right? So it's a lot more work than it seems, but in the end, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, I think I have the best job at Pangolin. Make a bunch of memes, have fun with the community, and make sure everyone's having a good time. All right, we had another request, so I'm going to grant that to BrickCon. All right, you're on. If you want to unmute and ask a question, go ahead.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Is my voice coming up?
Yep, sounds great.
Great. First of all, thanks for all of your efforts to build up such a community like this. Avalanche, one of the protocol layer one that I am following since day one. I'm a huge investor on it. Also, I'm originally from Turkey. Like we have a huge supporter in here. Other than that, my question will be, like Pangolin is positioning with Trader Joe as the two biggest decentralized exchange which built on Avalanche. So I also saw your teaser yesterday, which you shared from Twitter. I was just wondering, since bull run is expected to end late February, March 2022, what is your timeline to make as a reality your ideas, your roadmaps? What is your plan about to make it before these bull runs end? Thanks a lot.
Can I take this one?
Of course.
So, I mean, first of all, I'll just add this with the proviso: no one knows when the bull run will end. So, we've got to just assume that's unknown. One thing is we're building Pangolin not for this bull run. We're building Pangolin to be in like a foundational element of DeFi for 4 to 20 years, 30 years. We want to create something that lasts the test of time and doesn't only last during a bull run. I don't think that's a sustainable model where so having said that, we want to make sure that obviously we give our users and the community the best ability to do well within that bull run. And that we get by having solid foundations. We solid foundations allows us to deliver faster, and this tokenomics and new UI is key to that because it's a foundational element that allows us to then iterate faster, deliver features quicker. However, having said that, we're not going to sacrifice speed of deployment for user safety. There are a lot of hackers, there are security risks in the space. So we're not one of those projects, well, I certainly don't feel we're a project that will rush features out that puts our users' funds at risk. So you have to strike a healthy balance in being competitive in the short term. And we've got some very cool features coming out that I think the users are going to love. It's going to be incredible positive. But having said that, I think over the last 6 months, we've set up foundations that even if the bull run ends tomorrow, we've planned for the bull run to end. And even if it ends tomorrow, we'll be here for the long term. We've got those foundations in place, so we ain't going anywhere.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, that's what I love about the vision of Justin and the product side of Pangolin is, they have a long-term scope of what they want to build and where they want to take this project. If you think about traditional software companies like Apple, Microsoft, they didn't get to where they are in the first 6 months, and that's basically where Pangolin's at. We've only been live for 6 or 8 months, really. So, like Justin said, building solid foundations, making sure our treasury is diversified to withstand, volatility in token prices, and just building a really solid team. Our team is just fantastic, and it continues to grow. So, really excited for the future, not just this month or next month, but for years to come.
All right, we have requests continuing to roll in, so let's do this. Oh, I just lost him. Oh, yeah, there he is. Let's do this one, and maybe one more if we've got it.
Hi.
Hi.
After this space, will proposal begin immediately? And I would like to ask that when voted done, when will team execute proposal actually? When will the users going to use new version of Pangolin too? Thank you.
The proposal itself is, well, it's written, and we just tested it on the testnet to make sure that as the proposal actually goes on chain, that it all works according to plan. And I got confirmation that that has happened. Moving over to actually deploying it shortly. I don't have an exact time. Leo, do you have something?
Yeah, so proposals go through our 6 of 9 multi-sig. So we're going to have to wrangle 6 people, couple who are on this call. What's going on over there? And so, after the devs are ready, then it's just an hour or 2 or more until we get 6 people to sign off. And that's really good checks and balances, right? You don't want this centralized to a team to make massive change. You kind of want these checks and balances. And there are some people on our multi-sig from other projects external to Pangolin, and that's healthy. We've got JD from Banky, we've got Mark from Avalanche, Sarp from Marker, we've got Omer. And that's just good to have people with eyeballs. We've got Jamari from Snowball too. So, a lot of people on the ecosystem with eyeballs on Pangolin, keeping us in check and giving us good advice.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
I heard that from someone that with PNGs, we are going to join the EDOS with our PNGs like Zava, Avalanche. Is that true? Do you have any plan about it?
I think the question is, can we use PNG for IDOs? I mean, it's not on our immediate roadmap. I think we just, when we look at what to build, we see value in building certain things. And, you know, with launch pads, right? Like Avalanche is doing such a great job. Penguin Finance has launched a couple projects. It's not a space that we think brings as much value as some other features we're trying to build. But maybe Justin can give you a better answer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm appreciated.
Yeah, of course. Look, it's a good question. Launch and Penguin have both done great jobs, right? So the thing is, this is kind of what we have to question as Pangolin and as a community. So what do we see is our primary product? And you know, all of the discussions we've had internally is we're a DEX, so we need to be, you know, compete within a DEX space within that ecosystem. We've also got to be careful of not deviating. You know, what's that saying? You know, when you do too much, you're not an expert, right? So you kind of dilute your value add. So IDO is something that, you know, we think that, well, I personally think a better play would be making a partnership, or we've got a partnership with Avalanche, but providing on-ramps. So a successful IDO can then easily migrate their liquidity onto Pangolin. These are kind of like collaborations where both parties win, and I think those make a lot of sense. For us to then compete against Avalanche, I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. Again, we're a community deck, so obviously we open this up to a lot of people, but my personal take is that Avalanche is doing such a great job, it doesn't make sense for us to compete in their business model when they're doing so well. And Penguin, sorry, I didn't mean to leave out Penguin.
By the way, I can make a quick ad here because a couple months ago we did a partnership with Starter. You know, we've mentioned that you might be able to join IDOs with the PNG you have in your wallet. Probably that's why they're referring to IDOs right now. From time to time, we are getting this question. So yeah, we have a partnership with Starter. Maybe not soon. I don't know if you'll be able to join IDOs very soon, but we did a partnership about this. So if you guys want to comment on this team, yeah, I just wanted to remind that. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've kind of done a lot of resources to get in tokenomics and UI correct. So we don't want to kind of design a 6 months roadmap. We want to make sure that we get this right. And then the plan is us as a team to kind of align on what we think the next major feature set will be. We'll then release that to the community for feedback. So we think that's a good way to keep transparency, but also keep things organized and a bit more focused. So as soon as the new tokenomics goes, that's when we'll really start opening up on what the next high priority items are. We all have our opinions, and we've already, like, I think we almost all of us agree on certain aspects, but we just want to make sure we're all aligned internally, and then we'll release that information.
Okay, I think these were some really good questions. Thanks everybody for putting some thought into Pangolin. Really appreciate that.
Can I drop an update about us being in Miami, Andrew?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if anyone's on the East Coast of the US or in the Florida area, we'll be at the Decentral Conference in Miami, November 30th and December 1st. And we're getting a booth. We're going to be there with a couple team members, answering questions, meeting partners. You know, if you want to come to that conference, feel free to swing by and meet us and have a chat.
Also, guys, tomorrow we will be having an AMA in Turkish, so don't be shy, come join. We would be happy to respond to your questions in Turkish as well. So tomorrow is gonna be at 9 p.m. Turkish time. So if you want to join, looking forward to see you there.